Hey folks, Cool18 here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Banished. We are back in Brussels, and my the order at which I record videos is not always clear. I did the video to dispel the myths of old-growth forests right before recording this one, which is why in the last couple of videos I wasn't necessarily applying that knowledge, but now I will be. And specifically, my idea here is over here where we've got our gatherer's hut, the hunting cabin. Actually, is this where we have the herbalist as well? And then the herbalist. What I'm going to do with this Forester's Lodge is I'm actually going to disable cutting. I'm just going to make this a completely super thick forest, and it'll be awesome and supply basically everything we need. Because we have found out, of course, that things like the herbalist, for example, doesn't care. It doesn't have to be the original forest that the map came on. All they care about is mature trees, and the best way to do that is actually to use the Forester's Lodge to get maximum tree density. So I'm going to let this go for a little while, make sure that all the saplings are planted, and I'll probably just get rid of the Forester's Lodge at that point. Does mean that we're going to have to get another sort of a foresting area going, and we do have one here, and that might be enough to keep us in food, or sorry, in forest, but I suspect we're going to want to set up a third one at some point. Oh, and as I say that, I've got one here. Oh, we should be totally fine then. Obviously, our actual wood income, I'll unpause now, is going to drop for a little while as I disable the cutting over here. But then I'm going to disable the building outright, and then those foresters will go and work somewhere else, so it should all work out perfectly fine. Food-wise, we're doing good. I don't really need to assign a fisherman there, especially since we've got one here. Got a handful of laborers still going around. Good stuff. Got all our mines going. Everything is lovely and splendid, don't you think? In fact, what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and continue to expand the number of people I have living in my little town, because one thing I've noticed is you will get weird population boom and busts as people age off. We don't have much in the way of stone though, right? Because I would like to build some stone houses, but it might not be quite time. I'm going to build 2 wooden houses, and then we'll go to stone soon after that. Because yeah, you want to keep your population growing as much as possible. Obviously within bounds of your food limits. Let's go up to 4 builders, maybe, and see how that goes. Storage barn over here. We've got the market. Actually played for quite a while to get that other test map to demonstrate the thing, so I'm a little bit out of sync, I suppose, with exactly what our situation is here, but it looks like our town is going pretty well. I wonder if we could road through there. Probably we can't. I'm betting. No, we'd have to tunnel through. Which actually might not be a terrible idea. We don't really have the resources. Really cannot be placed. Yeah. So I guess we won't bother. I want to build a tunnel. I have not gotten around to doing it yet. At this point, I just want to do it for the heck of it. As much as possible. Which might not be the smartest way to do anything. Some of the trees do fall from time to time, regardless of anyone cutting anything down. I suspect that this Forester's Lodge is now totally complete, planting all the saplings. We've got what looks like really good density, so I'm just going to go ahead and... Oh, you can't do that. Oh, I guess I could disable it that way. There we go. That's how we'll do it. Set that back up to 4. Not that it really matters, but now this thing is disabled, which is good. And all of our foresters, yeah, it gives us a max of 8, which makes sense because we've got here and here, so that should work out nicely. We may want to apply some more, but we actually got a good number of... good amount of logs overall stored. Good on there. It's basically just buffing our mining at this point, just continuing to develop that as much as possible, and really we need some more numbers there. Food continues to be really good. We've got the trading post, which we will go out and construct at some point. Yeah, I guess I was just waiting for all that stuff to come in. You know what, cut back on the builders, leave a couple behind just for the sake of argument. Let's go and add a couple more stone cutters. We're good on tools, so we don't necessarily need any more iron any faster. Right, we've got all these mines going as well. We've got the coal, and oh, that's right, I did switch to steel tools as well. That's right. The other thing to note about the, even in a really super thick forest, the herbalists actually spend most of their time, or a considerable portion of the time, being completely idle. Especially if you have 2 herbalists, they can herb an area, I suppose you could say, remarkably fast, even a super dense area like this. So, you know, I suppose if you're running out of stuff, you might want to go up to 2, but honestly, I feel like 1 herbalist per herbalist building is plenty. If you want more herbs, you almost just want to have a second setup somewhere else. Which, again, we have the tree density here. We could easily fit that in. So I am considering expanding along the coast, which really, there's the possibility that we might end up moving inland this way at some point. We'll see how it goes. Because ideally you have a radius around something like your market. But I think we still have a fair amount of room to expand pretty comfortably here. More people dying of old age, replacing each other as gatherers. Everything is good. Everything is groovy. Everything is very good, actually, in this town. Almost too good. Some disaster is going to happen. And I know there are disasters in the game. They're not common, but they're going to sneak up on you and then ruin everything when you least expect it. In fact, just the cycle of the ages can really screw you. If you've got, you know, a bunch of baby boomers that suddenly die off, you can find yourself in a pretty tight spot and have to make some adjustments pretty quickly. Obviously, you have fewer people to feed, but there's often like a little period where things are not quite at the ratio that's ideal necessarily for whatever you're trying to do. I would like to get some seeds at some point, cattle especially. That would be cool. If we could get some sheep, I'd be so happy because we could make some nice warm jackets. I'm not entirely sure exactly what the effect of it is. I'm hoping it means, you know, needing less wood, which adds to the sustainability of our thing. Yeah, see, these foresters' lodges are even maxed out here, which means even more old growth being developed effectively is what's happening here. Homes being built. Oh, they're not even paired up, so we definitely don't want to build any more homes. It would be an unnecessary rush. Of course, we've got our school, which it looks like what the schools do is they really just delay people's entrance into adulthood. Instead of starting to work at 10, they go to school, and then they develop an education, and hopefully, presumably, that's better. I assume that's where the balance is, but we don't actually have all the numbers, so we don't know for sure exactly how good it is. Really could use more iron. Let's go and add some more miners. They will still be dividing themselves up between iron and coal. Now, if I decrease the coal total, they will prioritize one over the other. Also, a few people have mentioned to me the increased priority button, but I haven't really been able to see like the result of it doing anything in a sort of sensible manner that I really enjoy. So we'll see what happens. There we go. I'm going to bring this mine down ever so slightly, so it's going to be 2 and 4 because it looks like we do need a bit more iron. And of course, with the blacksmith, I'm assuming where it is, the blacksmith is an equal amount of log, iron, and coal. But we do use iron for a few other things. There's the occasional building that uses it, for example. So may as well leave the ratio a little bit off like that. Should be fine. So what are we still building? Well, we are building the trading post. What else? It looks like we're mostly just waiting for resources. See, speaking of iron, trading post needs iron. So there you are. So we're waiting for that to come in. These things do produce goods very slowly compared to picking stuff off the surface, but the problem is at a certain point, the distance on the surface is just too long. You spend way too much time just running things back and forth. And yeah, you can put a stockpile nearby, but still, someone's got to use that stockpile. So unless you're building a secondary village somewhere, which is entirely possible, like we could really just effectively build a whole other town, maybe right over here, you know, and then strip mine the area and then sort of build another sort of foundation based on that. And as long as things are relatively balanced, where people aren't going back and forth to an excessive amount, you'll actually be in a pretty good shape. And I think with the markets especially, that's what you're going to end up doing, because it becomes not really reasonable for people to travel super far all the time unless you've got a dedicated group of vendors to optimize that back and forth, and then the individuals doing your other work don't have to travel as far. But that will all come with a much, much deeper population base. So we had another miner die of old age. And it's nice having that pool of laborers. Again, most of your people end up working as laborers at some point regardless, so you don't really need them, other than the fact that it's very convenient for them to auto-replace people. Very, very convenient. I suppose the people who end up working the quarry and the mines, for example, never end up doing much laboring, but certainly the people at the foresters' lodges. I mean, if there's no saplings to plant and we're at our log limit, then they're going to do that. And again, the herbalists and gatherers, when they run out of goods in their area, turn into gatherers quite frequently, and of course anyone who runs out of resources. Now ideally that doesn't happen very often, but of course reality is somewhat different. How is the hunting situation? That was not a lot of hunting. Oh, you only have one hunter assigned. That makes it kind of reasonable. Doesn't mean we aren't producing jackets quite as quickly as we would like, but we still have a surplus, so I guess that's okay. I would like to dedicate more yeah, that's really awkward. I was going to say dedicate more hunters. I'm going to take one gatherer off, just again to have that. And you know what, we'll take a builder off as well. since they're basically acting like laborers now anyway. We just have to make sure that we get through this little chunk of old age dying off, and then get our new students kicking in, and then we'll have our growth working. I think as you move forward, the problem is when you start the game, a lot of people are clustered around being like 14 to 25, somewhere around there, plus a handful of kids. But so that first wave of old age die-off catches you kind of by surprise. Yeah, again, around the 15 to 20 year mark. And then, and again, these ages here don't correspond with how quickly people age numerically. So, but then after that, there's sort of a staggered progression of children, assuming you keep expanding your housing, sort of at a staggered amount, you know, maybe a couple of houses a year, or, you know, plus or minus or whatever, something like that. So that way not everyone's always the same age, and then it should smooth things out quite a lot better. Overall, the population is doing fine, but I would like to really explode my population at this point. I really think we could do that to the point where I think I'm going to go ahead and increase my food limit. No, not the 75,000 to 7,500. And, you know, right now I don't know if we're at much of a risk of going above it, but I would like to have a larger stockpile of safety. The reason you wouldn't do that right away is because this, early on, is far more food than you need, and so it actually benefits you from having some of your workers occasionally turn into laborers from time to time. But, so, we've got that there. Still got the shortage of iron overall, but that should start to even itself out. The stone houses don't need any iron, do they? Oh, they do. That's the other thing. Yeah, so you really do need more people working the iron mines than anything else. More than the coal. Right now, as far as I can tell, you don't really need coal for a lot of things. And I'm wondering if later on you might see something like that. Like, imagine people heating their houses with coal, or the blacksmith being more efficient because, actually, the blacksmith uses coal, of course. Sure. I can't remember if there was some other business I was thinking of. No, maybe not. But maybe, you know, there's going to be, as opposed to the blacksmith, maybe there'll be other metal workers later on. A lot of those things are hopefully going to happen. I think that this game really could turn into a sort of a magnum opus for the author. And this could be something that sees a lot of love and attention for a really long time. Based on the hype that's built up around this game right now and the feedback that I've got in my videos, I think it's going to be wildly successful. And that makes me really happy because that hopefully ensures more and more and more support. There we go, someone else dying of old age. But we are finally getting some kids kicking into adulthood, so that's good. We'll go ahead and bring our builders up to 2 again, although again, mostly I think we're waiting for some iron. No, that's not true. This thing is getting built. Just needs that. Blacksmith died of old age and replacing it. It's a good thing, I suppose, that the people don't have individual skills, because it would be really frustrating to have your legendary blacksmith suddenly die and be replaced by a novice. But that would be a different kind of game. You know, it's not bad to have skills like that. Who knows? Maybe it'll be added in at some point. But, you know, this abstraction where there's just sort of a toggle for education on and off is perfectly fine, too. Alright, that's still coming in. We actually have a slight surplus of iron now, which is nice. Good amount of stone, good amount of wood. I would like to expand the housing. I suppose I may continue to build stone houses at this point, so I've got to wait to just make sure I've got slightly more iron surplus going on. Actually, the number of tools we've got stored right now is quite poor, so you know what? I actually won't use any iron at all. There you go. You get these iron pickups. But I do want to expand ever so slightly, so let's go ahead. And oh yeah, there was still the problem. Are these people still single? Yeah, ish. I'll go ahead and build one more house. And just again, if we can keep encouraging people to move out of their parents and go off individually. It's like this miner here. Why doesn't he move in with, oh, they're both dudes. Or here, Briani. And, Jamali's a student. Who was it that I was looking at? Yeah, and Menaker. There you go. Come on, it's like a match made in heaven. Teachers and miners, they go together, right? I think? I don't know. Trading post. So I wanted it built. Did I want to start doing stuff with it yet? Stored tools are low. Oh, right, and I'm making the steel tools right now. And my idea... Oh, and I discussed building 2 blacksmiths. That's right. One that was constantly making iron tools that were just used for trade. Yeah. And one that was just building steel tools for internal use only. I kind of like that. Yeah, well, go up to 50 steel tools, because that'll be sufficient. Well, it's not going to be 50 steel tools. It's going to be 50 tools altogether. How do we optimize this? I could build another one and set the limit to like something like 60. That way, the steel one will always stop while the iron one is still working. and then constantly try to grab iron tools into the trading post. Might be kind of foolish to do overall. Again, the last time I checked, the steel tools do not sell for much more. And I could go and set X number of both, and then they would show up over here. It's quite a bit more effort to make those steel tools. Yeah, I don't think I want to trade them. I only want to trade iron tools. Excuse me. And I'm basically, you know what, as many iron tools as we're willing to produce, I will just absorb into the trade depot. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh man, we had a bunch of old ages. Looks like most people got replaced, hopefully. And then another one. Well, obviously, I can't dedicate someone else to being a blacksmith quite yet. Although, you know, I say that. We're not that far off. I wonder if there's a better place to build the blacksmith. Like, if I go here, he's more likely to have access to iron, but not necessarily to wood. Although, I guess that's fine. If he has to walk around here to get wood, that's not terrible. Actually, you know what? Next to the, near the market is going to be fine, because everything should be here, right? There's logs. I don't know, maybe they don't pick up iron into the market, which would seem kind of weird. I'm assuming it's just because they're too busy or something like that. That's probably the sort of thing that's happening. I suppose it's entirely possible we'll end up using a bunch of iron tools here. Like, I want to flag something for just for trade, not to be used for anything else. I'm not sure there's going to be a way for me to swing that. Because I could see a situation... Well, okay. No. So as I say, if everyone grabs... So imagine I put the blacksmith making steel tools at 50 limit, and I make the other blacksmith at 100 limit. But what'll happen if people will grab, presumably, the steel tools first, but if we're at 60, we're just going to keep producing iron tools until the steel tools are gone, and we'll never see a steel tool again. Crap. And we could do it the other way. Actually, that would work better. Yeah, okay. If we set this to something like 100, and then set the iron tools to 50... No, then we'll also never produce anything. Do we just go same amount, 50-50? So whenever we go below 50, both blacksmiths will try to produce something. One of them will get stored here. The other one will get grabbed for the trade depot. And again, anything that's in the trade depot doesn't count as your limit. I guess that's the way to do it. And then you sort of get a slow trickle in of all the things. I mean, it could just be that my idea is stupid. It's entirely possible. Well, let's see what happens. Alright, let's produce, where's the blacksmith? Right over here. Flip them around. Put it right in there. I'll actually extend this road over here so we can build a few more houses in the area. So we'll try to see what we can do there. No laborer was present to replace a forester. We're not really hurting for foresters, though, so that's alright. Or rather for logs. We are hurting for foresters overall, I suppose. But logs we've got plenty of right now. Stone's coming in pretty well as well. I could probably do something like reduce my stone cutters by 1. I think that's fine. Reserve of iron is low. I could dedicate more miners, of course. Or, like, screw with the ratio here again. Which, you know what, maybe we'll do. There. At 7, it should have half the amount-ish. What is that? Oh, no workers available. We went a little too far. Kind of surprising, you know? Because I have 6 miners, and here I say the limit is 15, and here I say the limit is 9, and they just really give none over here. 10? Someone might move over. 11? Alright. 1 is fine, just keep the trickle up. It won't matter so much later when we get just more miners in general. And again, I wish that the mines would... Oh, you know what the other thing is? I'm being kind of derpy. I could put this back to 15 and then tell these guys, listen, also produce iron. It would be nice if it auto-switched when it hit the limit. But it doesn't. I don't know why that is. Like, work one thing... Or maybe it does. I don't know. I don't think it does. Like, if I max out on iron, I don't think these will auto-switch to coal. Which is a little bit annoying. Let's go ahead and assign a second blacksmith over here. And then, yeah, keep that going. I guess we do need to assign 1 trader. Whoops. That's not the button. This is the button here. So the trader will start grabbing things. And hopefully we'll get a ship that comes in. Well, not too early, actually. Because we want to make sure we've got a good stockpile of stuff. Push comes to shove, we could sell the coats and the steel tools. But ideally, we were not going to do that. Because it does suck. Every now and again, I've sold my entire supply of tools. And that lull when people have all their tools broken and they're working at, like, I don't know, it's much slower. It's not half. It's got to be like a quarter efficiency or something like that. Is really painful. It really sucks. And it can actually send your whole settlement back a lot. So let's not do that, if possible. There we go, getting the iron tools over there. That's good. So yeah, the only tools to pick from should be the steel tools. Every time someone does that, we should get a little bit of an order that goes in. So things will slowly trickle in there. And a lot of people keep asking me if I know that you can get orders. And yeah, I do. When you've got a trader in here, you can go to the order screen. You can ask for something specifically, but it's going to cost more. So, and things are already expensive enough, so I'd rather just wait for something half decent to come by and just pick that up. Eventually we'll get it there. Someone has replaced the stone cutter. We have no builders right now, so let's go down. Hey, speaking of traders, there's one. I think it's a little too early, but push comes to shove. If they bring sheep, I might go ahead and, like, spend all the things. What do you got for me, buddy? Pumpkin seeds, stone, and pear. I can live without all that right now. That's okay. We will want seeds at some point, obviously, but not quite yet. These houses. Some people have paired off. Okay, we still got one single person there, but that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and drop down another house then. I know, I said I was going to do all stone. Alright. The waterfront property will be all stone buildings. Food is still very good. Obviously, we can grow. It's mostly a question of waiting for people to do the thingy so that they multiply. Be fruitful. Yeah, see, these people aren't going to have any more kids. Probably they aren't either. I don't know what the cutoff is in this game, but it's clear that there is a cutoff. Right, that's for sure. Wow, a lot of these houses are single houses, so building more is not really going to help that much. Because people seem to refuse to pair off. Yeah, well, pairing him off isn't going to make much of a difference. These people could hopefully have a few more kids. Yeah, we might. There's sort of like an awkward date or year, age spanning. Age is the word I'm looking for. Age span in a few places. There are a fair amount of students, though. Actually, the fact that we have so many students might be delaying people from creating families as well. Because if they still live with their parents while they're students, then that does delay the pair-off age and makes it less likely that we'll get kids. Interesting to think about. I have to assume that being educated is good enough. And if it's not, that means, like, oh, the game's got to be rebalanced or something like that. Alright, bring in the iron a little bit faster. We are going to have to change back to coal at some point relatively soon, but not quite yet. It's almost like we want 3 mines. Maybe. Alright, and we can't assign our builders to go and get that done. So it is the laborers that clearly bring things to houses, if they've got time to do it. Brussels is really sprouting. I gotta thank one of the YouTube commentators or commenters for making that joke, because I'm going to use that for the rest of the series and for all time. Brussels is sprouting. Food, still very good. In fact, over 5k since we raised that limit. So clearly we're still trending upwards, which is what we want. I mean, obviously, like, perfect equilibrium would be ideal, but it's hard to get perfect equilibrium. Usually it's going to lean towards one side or another. Do we put down the town hall? It's really expensive. Probably foolish. I do like the fact that you get graphs, though. Graphs are awesome. We're still double producing iron. We've got some tools. We can probably afford to do that. And there's going to be some fighting between the blacksmiths and the town hall for the supply of iron, but that's going to be okay. Town hall doesn't need any workers either, so that's pretty nice. Child named Lawrence and Laura were born. Amia, more people becoming students, quite a bit actually. Up to 8 students right now. And overall our population is pretty good shape. We're currently at 56. We'll probably get a few more old age deaths because the numbers were getting pretty high there. But overall we're doing okay. I think I might get some tunnels going at some point too, but obviously I'm gonna have to wait for the town hall to get finished because it's a big stone investment right there. Decent amount of logs too, but we've got logs. Only got 3 foresters going, but I think we're keeping pace with both our firewood and blacksmithing demands. In fact, our blacksmiths are currently at their cap right now, and that's okay. I'm going to let that stuff slowly trickle in. We've got 27 iron tools ready to be traded. So we definitely want more than that. But overall, I'm okay with this. Will mean having to build quite a few more mines over the course of the game. You know, and again, I still don't know what happens when they run out. Do they collapse? Do they go away? Or do they just continue to litter the landscape with ugliness? That'd be a little bit unpleasant. But it would also be relatively reasonable. Alright, I'm going to go up one gatherer again. Because gatherers are an excellent source of food. Probably the best in the game right now. Actually, I don't think there's a probably. It's pretty clear that the gatherers are amazing. So use them pretty powerfully here. Our little community by the river. We'll just keep going that way. Some people point out there really would be some pretty sweet spots here for fishermen. I'm not sure. Someone actually drew some graphics here to suggest putting one right on the tip. And, in fact, it would. And assuming that water coverage affects how good fishing is, that will be a super fishing spot. Right now it's a little far away from all of civilization, but we're going to continue to expand over here, build some bridges, and then it'll be entirely reasonable to be there. Because we can bridge over here and build actually a bunch of houses and everything here. Maybe a second market right there. That wouldn't be terrible. It'd be nice if there were smaller storage barns, because I would like, just like you can make a small little stockpile, a small little storage thing right next to the fish would be really quite good. Although I guess it's still the laborers' jobs to cart that stuff around, so as long as you've got enough laborers, you're going to get the stuff everywhere fine enough. I just hate really long walks. Someone else died of old age. Actually, I don't know. I wonder if the town hall you can get demographics in terms of, like, age. Because that would be extremely interesting. Ooh, firewood supply, quite low. Why so low? Well, we just got through winter, that's true. We might need another woodcutter at some point, though. Yeah, we really might. Again, we do need the town hall because I want to be able to see graphs of how things are going. Just need one piece of iron left, and then we can start construction. More students coming in. Up to 9 students now. Almost half capacity and growing. And total population size is at 59. Yeah, well, we're definitely going up. There we go. Get that construction going. Trees being felled and whatnot. And over here, at this point, I really could just get rid of the Forester's Lodge. And I may do that. I'm actually curious if we would like... What am I looking for? Pathfinding. If we would like more houses over here for the businesses. No, it looks like everyone who works here actually lives really close nearby. So there's not really much I would want to do with the Foresters. Putting another house here wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, alright. We'll just leave it disabled for now. We might later on want to enable it and start cutting down trees again. In fact, we really could do it quite safely now because obviously we are nowhere close to our tree limit. Or, sorry, we are consistently at our tree limit. So I could enable this and it actually wouldn't cut much at all. Herbalist, we've got lots of herbs. Lots of herbs. Because there's an H in it. Hey, there's another trader coming. Alright. We're up to 41 iron tools. Again, push comes to shove, we could grab a bunch of steel tools as well, just temporarily. What you got for me, buddy? Wool! We could use it to just make coats. But no, I'm going to continue to save. What else could you specifically bring? Nothing I specifically want. So, dismiss. Yeah, I'm saving up for livestock. People are using up their tools quite a bit. Reserve of iron is low, and coal as well. Actually, we've run out of coal, so it's time to put that back on. I should have done that some time ago. Although having slightly more iron is not bad, because we do use it for different stuff, so that's okay. Food is actually dropping rather quickly. I guess our population is actually hitting that boom. Let's go and max out our gatherers at this point. And then we don't have much in the way of fishing either. Yeah, we'll get that going soon too, just to get some extra food diversity, although we are at perfect health. So that's pretty nice. And yeah, I think in terms of raw numbers, the gatherers will just generate more. We'll disable the builders just to make sure we've got plenty of laborers around in case we get another set of old age deaths coming sort of back to back to back, so that we don't have to worry about anything there. And I think I've got to put a cut in this episode. We'll see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.